You may not consider yourself one for conspiracy theories. You easily tackle misinformation online, and extremism is something you only hear about on the news. But the impact of these developments is much closer than you think. Social media algorithms, which most of us use on a daily basis, are designed to create revenue. Given that heightened emotions on social media platforms often lead to increased engagement and subsequently more revenue, they wield significant influence over what we encounter. This growing phenomenon is having a direct impact on the perceptions of democratic institutions and trust in science. At worst, it has the ability to attempt to overthrow or disrupt democratically elected governments. Extreme political narratives have been rising across Europe, and these narratives influence mainstream political discourses and policies. It's about you, me, and the lives we lead. As a generation born in a time before the internet, there was a growing concern for those in the middle age. Not being digital natives, this group often still used traditional routes to gain information, such as print media, TV, and radio, but at the same time are engaging in online media. Without the tools to navigate, they rely on their perception of credible sources, making them easy targets for extremist narratives and misinformation through social media. This group of middle-aged adults between the ages of 45 and 65 is under-researched, but the impact of them being drawn into extremist content may have significant consequences on political discourse, democratic processes, and institutions, as they form a large group of people who may also be in decision-making positions, such as managers and policymakers, therefore have a direct influence on those who live in democracies like you and me. In this podcast, we will talk with experts in the field of research surrounding conspiracy theories and misinformation, joining both strength and knowledge in the newly founded Smidge project. Research centers, universities, and NGOs from all over Europe will shine their light on new research findings and counter-narratives, education, and also training resources that are being developed to address fake news and misinformation.
Joining us from Italy are two esteemed researchers, Rita Bracchini and Fabrizio Boldrini from Fondazione Villa Montesca, a research and training center dedicated to education. Today we will be exploring the recent AI developments within education and their implications. Welcome to our podcast, Fabrizio and Rita. Let's start. Could you share a bit about your background and your role in the project? Fabrizio, let's start with you.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. I'm an expert on education and media education. I've written some books, together with Rita also, about emotional intelligence, impact of critical thinking in the school curricula. In particular, I studied the impact of the Montessori approach in different fields, including media education. And currently, I'm the director of the Villa Montesca Foundation.
Yeah, Fabrizio, it's really nice to have you here with us today. Rita, you are also joining us. Could you give us an introduction about yourself as well?
Thank you very much. I'm an economist. I'm specialized in social economy. And in the Foundation Villa Montesca, I'm the head of the European Cooperation Unit. I'm also a project manager and a senior researcher. I'm very glad to be with you this morning.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you here, both of you, and that you can share the knowledge that you have on this topic with us. So let's dive into what we were about to discuss today. AI is a buzzword and it's impacting various aspects of our lives, considering FVM's focus on innovative education. Fabrizio, what do you think about AI's influence on conventional approaches to teaching and learning?
Yes, indeed. Artificial intelligence is a buzzword today. Has undergone remarkable developments over the last year, which brought it to the attention of the general public. We are in a so-called information society, or according to an Italian philosopher, Luciano Floridi, we are living in an infosphere. Just to make the public understand, generative artificial intelligence, like the more and more popular chat GPT, is a type of artificial intelligence that generates images, text, videos, the domain that is normally typical of the human creativity. Such tools have sparked a lot of debate, both for and against, generating a fair amount of controversy already. Adding to the growing interest and enthusiasm for this new technological frontier are therefore anxiety that this new intelligence may threaten typical human skills and jobs as a step forward in the loss of control and the retreat of the human. The field of education, as natural, is one in which the opportunities and threats are felt to a greater extent, precisely because artificial intelligence interferes in semantic context. The importance of this technology for education today and even more in the future is also evidenced by the numerous initiatives undertaken by the European institution that normally expresses concern for the use of artificial intelligence in teaching and learning. The artificial intelligence can write poems, can write stories, but over something that has to be already written or taught, combining the concepts in various ways. But the intuition for reacting to unpredictable situations is not a characteristic of the artificial intelligence. And so using artificial intelligence in school systematically can lead the students and teachers to lose their intuitive intelligence.
Yeah, so there's also room for concern. It doesn't only bring opportunities, there's also some risks. Maria Rita, I would like to talk to you about those risks because, as Fabrizio mentioned, personal learning in virtual classrooms, which are all opportunities. Again, there are risks. In your view, which one outweighs the other?
It's important to emphasize that artificial intelligence is not simple a software or a platform. It's rather an information technology revolution. And so it's going to have effect in all the area of people's lives, including education. Yes, artificial intelligence in education poses relevant risks and also relevant challenges. The main risks are related to the accuracy of the information, but also algorithmic bias, security, safety, privacy issues, data ethics, the need of transparency and accountability of data. And furthermore, I may say that artificial intelligence may exacerbate rather than mitigate inequities in education. And also, critical approaches to the contents can generate easier than ever disinformation and misinformation. So in this framework, we can see how teachers are quite unprepared to an AI-powered education. And it's very important to connect artificial intelligence tools to content knowledge and to the pedagogy. So it's very difficult at this stage to say if are more the benefits or the risks. It's not easy to say what overweight, and predicting the consequences and the impact of the use of artificial intelligence in education is so difficult, and an incremental approach to the subject is of course necessary. The effects of artificial intelligence on education are not still entirely clear and depend also from factors outside the educational system. I would like just to underline that our foundation is leading an Erasmus forward-looking project titled Paideia that is going to investigate how artificial intelligence can be safely implemented in education.
Yeah, and that is what my next question is also about, how artificial intelligence can be safely implemented in education. Because with the rise of AI-generated educational content, I can imagine that ensuring accuracy and also ethical integrity is really more crucial than ever. How can we guarantee that AI-generated educational content maintains both that accuracy and ethical standards, Fabrizio?
Also, this is a very tricky question. Accuracy and ethical implications are at the basis of any discourse related to artificial intelligence. Actually, the debate about accuracy and ethics in artificial intelligence show the complexity of this issue. Of course, AI tools can include inaccurate or incorrect content, that's for sure. How we can solve this? It's absolutely not easy. Despite advancements in AI-powered moderation, ensuring content accuracy remains a challenge. Artificial intelligence-based systems are prone to errors due to the limitation in understanding context, nuances, and cultural references. Additionally, artificial intelligence can be vulnerable to manipulation, as seen in the spread of fake news, for instance. It is crucial for organizations to implement a mechanism for human oversight and fact-checking and continuous improvement of artificial intelligence-based models. But of course, striking the right balance between artificial intelligence automation and human intervention is essential for maintaining content accuracy, and this is not easy at all. The debate will have to continually evolve and move forward in the long run. We also need policies to ensure the artificial intelligence system developed can be essentially ethical by design. What this implies, as listed by European Commission itself, different aspects. For instance, respect for human agency, privacy and data governance, prevention of treatment to equal rights and opportunity, and social well-being, transparency.
Yeah, Maria Rita, in your previous answer, you said teachers can be quite inexperienced when it comes to AI. However, they play a crucial part in really implementing accuracy and also ethical integrity, as explained by Fabrizio. I was curious, as AI's role evolves in education, how can educators, and it's not just teachers, it's education in general, be trained to recognize and address that intersection with online extremism, disinformation, and also conspiracy theories?
It's a top question because false and misleading information supercharged with artificial intelligence is the top immediate risk of implementing artificial intelligence in education. It can be really dangerous, implementing artificial intelligence, because it can be really a vehicle of disinformation, also conspiracy theories and online extremism. How AI boosts disinformation in two ways mainly. Firstly, creating or manipulating texts, images, audio, and video content. The so-called deep fakes that are digitally manipulate video and visual materials are highly realistic and virtually indistinguishable from the material or the real material. And secondly, by facilitating the dissemination and the spread of disinformation. And this situation entails multiple ethical and human rights concerns, in particular regarding human dignity, autonomy, democracy, but also peace. We have also to say that in reaction, other AI systems are developed to detect and moderate disinformation online. Google, Facebook, Twitter rely on machine learning algorithms to stamp out trolls, to spot and remove fake accounts or fake news. But there are several limitations to the application of AI to detect and counter disinformation, such, for instance, the risk of overblocking accurate content because AI models are still prone to false negatives or false positive, and this can have an impact on the freedom of expression as well. This can happen also in education because we have to point out that most teachers simply have no specific idea of what AI educative tools are like. So, of course, teachers need to know and need to be engaged in this novel educative wave. We cannot stop it. They, in turn, have to train their students, and only increasing media literacy, only fostering critical thinking, we can restore a healthy relationship to information. We have to be clear, I like to say, that the miracle of artificial intelligence is to produce without intelligence contents that humans can evaluate with their intelligence. This is the key.
Yeah, and a really important key to take away from this podcast as well, I think. We talked a lot about education. I would like to switch to another group that is informing us on a daily basis, which are journalists. FVM emphasizes lateral reading, calls for journalists to promote fact-checking and counter-narratives. Fabrizio, how does this strategy help in evaluating information online, and how can active journalism further contribute to countering extremist narratives, misinformation, and fake news?
Yes, just to give you a normal situation when we read a book, for instance, a newspaper or an article or a scientific paper, we naturally activate mechanisms that are well known to us. When we buy a book or an article because someone recommended it to us or because we appreciate the author or the publisher, let's say that every time we are readers, we do source recurrence more or less consciously. But in the web or the social media happens a little bit for everybody, but especially for younger people or for teenagers, that we come to read text without being absolutely aware of the sources. This mechanism leads to taking for the true information that actually are false. If we want to find out an information that is in our interest, normally we Google it and we scroll down the list. How can we think that what we are reading is true? We know that Google indexes sites, for instance, in order of popularity or for marketing strategies made by those that are promoting themselves. So how do we know if that article we are reading has a scientific basis or not? Sam Weinenberg and this team at Stanford University tell us that people generally go to the site description of the site itself, but the information is not reliable, or at least we cannot be sure. The process to assess the source is a process we call lateral reading. According to this approach, it is rather very important to go and investigate what others are saying about the site, what is the reputation and authority of this source. Lateral reading is important for everyone, but for specific categories it's more important. Those that we call fact checker, for instance, in particular journalists, for example, must not only ascertain the veridicity of a source, but must also then represent the result of the research to a wide audience. And so the civic responsibility of this action for them is obviously far more important than that of an individual citizen.
Yeah, I think we can talk about this topic for hours because I think there will be so much more knowledge to come in the future. However, unfortunately, we're already on the last question of this podcast and a question for the both of you. As we are concluding this conversation today and in light of our discussion on AI in education and also combating the disinformation, Fabrizio, that you just talked about, what key takeaway or message would you like our listeners to remember? Fabrizio, let's start with you.
As the English poet, to quote an English poet, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, tell us, common sense in an uncommon degree is what we call wisdom. And we believe that in carefully analyzing the topic of artificial intelligence, its potential extension to the world of education in particular, but also journalism, everyone, we need to think about how a child thinks. As we know, children are the master of casual thinking. In fact, they have the habit of always asking why. This insistence is basically the hallmark of science. Children are naturally attracted to the natural things and activate what the psychologists call casual thinking. And Montessori explains this as the result of an absorbent. This is the intuitive psychological dimension of knowledge that must be considered and strengthened in all the students, precisely because it is through critical thinking more than through any technological strategy that we will defend our future citizens from the vision of the body snatchers that we call artificial intelligence. Our students are, for instance, very good at using ChatGPT for their homework, but the continuous intake of information through artificial intelligence-based tools always clashes with the 100 billion neurons that make up the human brain. Indeed, if what we call critical thinking is strengthened, the risk of artificial intelligence can be somewhat mitigated. The challenge of artificial intelligence, like that was for the internet, has to be faced by using the great opportunities offered and not just by being frightened by the risks. So if there are one action by which we can sum up the main strategy for tackling the major issues for an increase in disinformation and misinformation, this is undoubtedly to strengthen critical thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And Maria Rita, to finish up with you, what would be your key takeaway or message for the listeners to remember?
But I would say that artificial intelligence is an evolutionary journey, and we are just at the beginning of this journey. And while artificial intelligence role, for instance, in education is still unfolding, but also in the other sectors, of course, and we have a lot of questions, doubts, and artificial intelligence mechanism, strategies, technologies is still run. And this new technology evolves far quicker than government policies and often undermine existing legal and policy frameworks. So we have to be well prepared in education, mainly to ensure that students can remain at the heart of this transformation that is going to be quite long and quite quick.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all your knowledge with us today. I think we haven't even covered half of it. However, I do think that we still have a lot of work to be doing, a lot of thought-provoking work as well. So I really hope that with sharing your knowledge, our listeners have some food for thought today as well. Maria, Rita and Fabrizio, thank you so much for joining us live here today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll return with another exciting guest and hot topic in 2 months. Thank you for listening.
I am Ella Book. This is a Smidgecast, and if you want to learn more about Smidge and our work, visit smidgeproject.eu or connect with us on X at the Smidge Project. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, please consider sharing it to support our mission. Thank you for listening.